You're watching the SCAC Player of the Week interviews. It's week 2 of the SCAC outdoor track and field season. Today we're joined by the SCAC Women's Track Athlete of the Week, senior hurdler Abigail Bannon-Schneebeck of the Trinity University Tigers. And Abby, first of all, congratulations and thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Abby, you and the rest of your teammates get the outdoor season underway this past weekend as you hosted the Trinity Open. How excited is it to finally get the season underway? And are there still nerves, when you step into the blocks for the first time, kind of having that unknown ahead of you after all the hard work you've put in to get the season underway?
I think everyone was really excited and anxious to get the outdoor season started. The indoor season is kind of just more conditioning and not really taken as seriously or competitively as the outdoor season. So I think everybody was really ready to start this weekend. And I think we ended up coming out a lot stronger than any of us really expected. I think the whole team across the board did really well, and we had a ton of people PR, which is pretty unheard of at the beginning of the season. And so I think everyone's really excited with how it looks like this season's going to go.
Abby, individually, you put together a pair of really impressive performances, 2 second-place finishes, first in the 400-meter hurdles with a PR time of 1:02:33, and then also in the 100 hurdles, second place with a time of 15:18. Take me through those 2 events. How were you able to be so successful out there on the track for the Tigers?
I was honestly surprised with my time in the 100 hurdles. I haven't really made much headway in that race in a couple years. So that was really nice. I felt a lot stronger than I thought I was going to, and I think my coaches were also surprised. And then in the 400 hurdles, I felt much more in shape and stronger in the indoor season this year than I ever have. So I was definitely expecting to come out a lot faster than I have in the past at the beginning of the season, but definitely not the fastest I've ever run. So that was a really nice surprise and gave me a lot of confidence for the rest of the season, which I feel like was a really good way to start.
How vastly different are those 2 races for you, Abby? Certainly, the hurdle aspect of it, covers both races in terms of trying to clear those obstacles. But the 100 versus the 400, does your technique change when it comes to hurdling? Does your leg that carries you over initially change? What are kind of the biggest differences that you have to really prepare for when getting ready to compete for those 2 separate events?
I think the skill is essentially the same. Obviously, mistakes are a lot harder to overcome in the 100 hurdles because it's such a short race, but in general, I try to keep the skill the same. In both races, I do have to switch my start leg in the 400 hurdles to make sure that I get my comfortable leg on the first 5 or 6 or 7 hurdles, but I do have to switch legs about 3/4 of the way through the 400 hurdles because I start dying a little bit. But I would say the biggest difference between the races is the mental game, for sure. I've been afraid of the 400 hurdles since I started running it, so I get really excited for the 100 hurdles, but this year I've actually also started to get excited for the 400 hurdles, which is a really nice change from how it's been in the past.
Track and field, really provides a unique opportunity to compete against all divisions across NCAA, something that a lot of our team sports might not necessarily, get to experience. For you, is that something that adds motivation when it comes to these events? You look at last weekend, there's, runners from Division I, Division II, and it kind of gives you that opportunity to showcase how good our athletes are at Division III. Is that something you find unique, but also very, exciting as well?
Yeah, I think it makes a huge difference, especially at the indoor meets at the beginning of the season. It can be really intimidating to be racing against the D1 athletes, but it is nice to feel like at least we can be on the same track as them. And in terms of this weekend and the outdoor season, I think the competitive level that the D1 and D2 schools bring to our meets is really good for us in terms of pushing past conference and into nationals. Because we don't necessarily always get to compete against people that will kind of force us to run our best races if we would just stay in our conference or the division. So like this weekend racing against Angelo State, that brought competition that otherwise wouldn't have been at the meet that definitely made me run faster. So I do enjoy competing against the higher divisions for sure.
And finally, Abby, I look at your performances this past weekend, and you hit that PR in your 400-meter hurdle second place finish. How does that change, maybe kind of reset your goals or reset your training plan moving forward? Hitting that PR in the first outdoor meet must give you a ton of confidence, but then how do you kind of adjust? Because it's not often, as you mentioned, to have so many PRs across the board, and specifically for you individually right out of the gate.
So I think the biggest thing, or the reason that happened for me, was the training that we did in the fall was a lot more endurance-based, and so I think a lot of the long sprinters are coming out with a lot stronger base than they have in the past, and I definitely feel that way. But I think in terms of training, it was really nice to know that that's where I am right now. That time got into nationals last year, so I think it was comforting for me and my coaches to understand that I'm starting at a really good place in terms of trying to qualify this year. And it definitely will change my training in that we're going to probably push a lot more on harder workouts for longer than we would if I was just training to get to conference. And I think they're trying to kind of delay my peaking this year so I don't peak too early or anything. So I think I'll end up having a lot more intense training for a lot longer than I expected. And I think it was easy for my coaches to see that that's what we need to do from this weekend.
Now it's time for the fastest minute in all Division III athletics. That's right, it's the SCAC 60, a chance for you, SCAC Nation, to get to know your SCAC players of the week a bit better. Abby, are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's put 60 seconds on the clock, and here we go. Abby, what's your favorite cereal?
I'm a big Frosted Flakes fan.
Your current must-watch TV show is?
Grey's Anatomy.
What's your favorite current class you're taking?
Yoga.
You have a time machine. Are you going back in time or into the future?
The future.
What's your favorite snack food?
Chips and salsa.
Who would make the best stand-up comedian on the Trinity track team?
Chris Mata.
What's your favorite way to kill time when you're not out on the track practicing or in the classroom studying?
I really like going to the pool when it's warm, and otherwise taking naps.
Favorite track Olympic athlete of all time?
I'm going to have to think about this one. I'm blanking on her name. She runs for Kentucky right now. She's super fast. She's a hurdler. She's a 400 hurdler. I don't remember.
That will wrap up the fastest minute in all Division III sports, the SCAC 60. Again, this week we are joined by SCAC Women's Outdoor Track and Field Track Athlete of the Week, senior hurdler Abigail Bannon-Schneebeck of the Trinity University Tigers. And Abby, again, congratulations on your honor and best of luck as you continue to move forward throughout your senior year.
Thank you very much.